Joker question mark, who did a super chat and says, have you swallowed the black pill, and if not, why? I don't know what that is.
Holy shit, dude. Just gonna be a rough sleep, man. I can't. When was even the last time I drank? It had to have been on stream, right? Had to have been. I didn't really eat a real dinner, so like this is fucking hitting me. Like, 'cause I had no food to absorb it. Plus, this is red wine, so this is stronger than the other shit. Yeah, this is 14%, and I drank almost this whole thing. Yeah, that would explain it. Yeah, 14%. Never mind, that makes perfect sense. The problem is I'm actually too drunk, I think, to play any video game. I'm also in too good of a mood for Doomer Hour, so I have a little bit of a dilemma here. This high alcohol percentage to damage to Clarence. Supposedly the mold loves alcohol. That's what Devin told me. The thing is, you don't feel it until you start sobering up. And then, yes, you get like this weird... It doesn't hurt, but I do get this weird bubbling in my stomach that I'm not entirely... You know, it doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't hurt, though. It just doesn't feel right. Did they ever say what the mold was exactly? Again, it's funny you ask that, because that's why this seems so suspect. I don't know why, like, I don't know what else it could even possibly be, because all the symptoms match it, and they tested him for mold, and he tested positive for multiple types of mold at a high level. You know, the thing is, like, my brother was basically in perfect health other than that. Like, his kidneys were great, you know, his liver was great, all that shit. But the mold was super high levels, and it was from multiple types of mold in his stomach. He tested for high levels. But other than that, he had a clean bill of health. So that's why, like, this seems so fucking crazy. Like, I mean, what can you do, man? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't pretend on any level to know what you're talking about when it comes to this. So, I don't know, man. For me, it's not nearly as bad as him. Like, I probably have it about 50% as bad as him. Though part of it is, I've always been an eater. Like, my brother's been kind of skinny his whole life until he got really into working out. And then, like, he was never fat, ever, but he was pretty muscular. For sure. But his body fat now is like non-existent. You know, he lost so much weight. But me, you know, my weight has fluctuated, obviously. I was never obese. The closest I ever came was I was like 205 right out of high school. I think it was like 19 or something, and I was like weighed 205 or something. But like most of my life I've been between 180 and 190 pounds, I'd say. Right now I'm probably like 190 or something. And I just have always kind of liked eating, but not enough to be obese. You know what I mean? So, like, even though it hurts me to eat potatoes, sometimes I still eat fries, or I'll eat chips, or stuff like that, because it doesn't hurt that bad. I just have a strong stomach. But clearly, whatever genetic disorder I have that makes my body not be able to fight off the mold, I have it just like my brother does, and it almost certainly comes from my dad's side. Because my mother has also been living with us in environments that have had mold problems. Now, me, you know, I think my mold I actually got the mold sickness by living in that attic at the previous house we lived at. Because we couldn't even fucking breathe in that attic, which, of course, our home gym was in the attic. So that's kind of what led to me, like, you know, people ask, you know, I see in chat, trust me, you know, I don't always respond, but people ask me like, oh, what's your bench? You know, what do you like? What do you squat or deadlift or whatever? The reason I don't answer is because like I've been kind of out of shape for about 2 years because the mold really sucks the energy out of you. Now I've been trying to get back into working out again. You know, I'm trying to motivate myself. I'm trying to fix certain parts of my daily life. But it is hard when you have a disease that literally makes you even more tired than usual. And I'm always tired. I'm always fucking tired because I stay up, you know, super late and I drink so much caffeine and all this blah 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 that is like bad health issues anyway, and so you add on this fucking disease that seems to have no fucking cure, and yes, it does make it hard to stay in good shape. It does, for sure. That's not taking away from the fact I'm a lazy fuck. That's obviously true, but you know, your gut biome is a huge part of your personality. You know, like, I remember they cured someone's autism by giving them a fecal transplant because it affected their gut biome, right? Like, they say, like, you've seen in media, like, you swap brains with a robot and you're still you. That's not true. That's not true. Your other organs are still part of you as a human being, because it's all like fucking chemicals and pheromones and all this shit in your head determines what you are as a person. And so when your stomach's fucked up, that does fuck up the rest of you, without a doubt. Like, that is 100% true. If they transported your brain to a robot, you would fucking 100% just become a goddamn robot after a certain amount of time. You would lose your humanity. Without a doubt, you know, in this sense, I can almost sort of speak a little bit from experience, just because my stomach fucking up has probably made me even more grumpy and cynical than I've been most of my life, you know? I don't know. I guess you'd have to watch videos from 3 years ago compared to now. Do I seem like even more of a doomer? I'd say yes. I'd say yes. It's the stomach.
Brutal. That's pretty brutal.
I'm just long-winded rambling about shit, but this is just one of those things where obviously I need to make some changes to my life, but it's hard. There's so many things to change, and you got to start small and work up to something big. It just seems it seems like if you're not making any significant difference, it almost seems like a waste of time, but I guess that's been my whole life, really. I've never been satisfied with small changes, you know? Like, I always either have to full commit or don't do it at all. I suppose maybe that's changed a little bit in recent years, because just like things like YouTube, you know, when the luster wore off for being a YouTuber, you know, you kind of stop giving a fuck, right? But on some level, you have minimum standards for what the content has to be. Otherwise, I would find a way to pump a video out every week, no matter how shit it is. But I'm simultaneously stuck between not being enthusiastic about being a YouTuber and also still not being willing to release a video if I think it's bad, you know? And really the audio component is by far the most important thing, right? There's a lot of people don't even really watch the videos because obviously my editing is minimal. But, you know, when you don't have enthusiasm for something, it shines through, even if you try and fake it. I mean, maybe less intelligent individuals can't tell, but, you know, I've seen people say it, and I even agree, that there were a bunch of videos this year where I was basically phoning it in. Because it's like, well, at the end of the day, this year sucked ass, and there wasn't even that many, like, important games that came out. And I didn't even cover at least a couple of the ones that were significant releases, like Concord. I should have done a Dustborn review, but, man, like, I just reached the end of my patience with dog shit video games when that came out. I regret it. I do regret it. I wanted to review Concord because I feel like it would fit my channel so well. Oh shit, my stomach's starting to fuck up because of the drinking. It's starting already. At the end of the day, I'm stuck in a point where, on the one hand, I can't review anything good because people won't watch the video. While it isn't all about the money, I do think much more important than the money is if only, let's say, about half of my total viewership watches a video, then it never gets in the algorithm. And it hurts the channel ultimately, arguably. Again, the algorithm is a mysterious beast that no one really knows for certain how it works. You know, if you're like, again, I call it whitelisted because I really think that's the perfect term for it. If you're a whitelisted channel, you could like not post for months and be fine. JonTron's a good example, I'd say. But I'm not that. If I don't post for a month, that video's not going to do well, obviously. Unfortunately, I've already done that. I didn't even realize because I feel like the days are just passing by. In November, whatever video I released in November that I can't think of off the top of my head because I'm drunk, between that and then the Indiana Jones video was a month. That was a fucking month. I went a month without releasing a video, which is crazy. If you said to me 4 years ago, I'd go a month without releasing a video, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't you like, you know, this YouTube shit? It's like, yeah, but I don't know. After a certain point, I mean, I haven't really gotten many of the benefits, You know, I mean, you could say it's because I didn't really use it. I'm not on dating sites being like, I'm a YouTuber, bitch, you know, suck my dick. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that, to be clear. I'm just fucking around. But the point is, you know, I've never been like, yeah, listen, I have 100,000 subscribers, suck my cock. But, you know, I would never do that. I'm just not that type of person. I know people really think I'm a bad person because the shit I've said. I mean, I don't care what leftists think anyway, because I don't really think they're people. But I'm really not that kind of person. I'm the Breakers Slayer. I'm the most popular Breakers YouTuber. That's gotta be worth something. How's that not worth anything? Come on. Why are the women not drooling on me that I'm the biggest Dragon Ball The Breakers streamer? Yeah, let me leverage my tiny amount of E-Celeb fame to get, you know, a clout chasing whore. That's a bad idea. It's a horrible idea. Now, you know, if you want to get your dick wet, it's fine, but I'm not that guy. I've never been that guy, ever. You know, there was a saying, I can't remember what the saying is exactly, but it's something like, find every cynic is like a idealist or something. Something like that is what the saying is. It's like, that was totally me when I was young, and we're talking young, like 13 and younger. I became a doomer fairly early, you know, again, because my parents didn't really steer me on the right path after, but, you know, I'm not going to get into that. But let's just say, you know, if you're like 14/15-year-old around that time is like a fucking depressed, you know, teenage kid, like, holy shit, you should think you fucked up immediately and maybe do something about it if you're a parent, right? But no, my parents were not, no, no. But, you know, I don't want to get distracted. We're getting into Doomer Hour now. But anyway, so, yeah, that really derailed me completely thinking about that. But whatever. The point is, like, I was going to equate it in my head to being like a hopeless romantic a long time ago anyway. Not now, obviously. And when you become black-pilled, all that kind of shit's the bed because you realize, like, women do want that out of Chad, obviously. Like, an attractive man being, like, the romantic type. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a huge fantasy of theirs, but not of the average person. You need to prove your worth, obviously. You could say having clout or money or whatever is the equivalent of that for sure, but, you know, I'm sure every man deep down wants to be loved for who they are, and this is not reality. That's not reality. You know, like, I don't know if it's Disney movies or cartoons or whatever, but, you know, we're kind of like filled with that thought in our heads. It's like, you know, that's what love means, but it's not. I mean, it's not. We have to think of things like animals. It's like a mating ritual. You have to, you know, you have to prove that your genetics are worthy of being passed on. Obviously, that's only autistic people would really think of it in simplified terms like that, but that is like the reality of what it means to mate is, okay, you know what, this female, you know, you have to prove that, you know, you're not a weirdo, you know, you have value of some kind, whether that's being naturally attractive or, and when I say naturally attractive, I'm referring to the face, the height, that sort of thing. Obviously, anything that's your genetic component, if you don't meet the genetic components, you have to have worth either in money or well, if you're famous, you have money as well. But, you know, having some kind of, you know, societal clout, you know, again, clout is just the easy way of saying it. But if you have some kind of societal value, that's the way, right? Charisma is basically a lie. It's not that charisma doesn't exist. It's just that charisma is very situational, you know? Like, it's the type of thing where if you're in like the top 5% of like being naturally likable, I'm sure it gets you pussy. I'm sure. I'm not that crazy where I'm like, oh no, obviously, it's all, you have to weight things, right? Like, it's like statistics. Again, thinking of it autistically, you think of it like an RPG, right? If like looks and charisma were two different stats, which if we're being honest, they're not. But if we're saying they're two different stats, if your looks is like a 2 and your charisma is a 10, doesn't fucking matter. Your looks are 2. You're fucked. You know, at first impressions are everything. People do judge a book by its cover, right? I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I'm just rambling until, again, I sober up a little bit. But if we're being reasonable, if you're an average looking guy and you're like basically comedian level funny, I'm sure that works out. But again, people are thinking of things in generalizations too much. Again, I'm saying this as if I'm talking to normies, which I'm not, obviously. But if I was talking to normies, you know, I'm thinking of it in a way that I would explain it in a way that they understand, that doesn't sound like insane incel shit. But it's basically just like people are way too comfortable. This applies to like racism related things as well, or sexism. But people keep thinking of exceptions when exceptions don't disprove anything. If anything, the exception proves the rule. If as a generalization, over 90% of something fits this thing, it doesn't even have to be 90%. I'm just giving an example. If 90% exemplifies a group of people that you're describing, then it is 100% applicable and appropriate to say there's nothing wrong with saying that. Absolutely nothing, you know? You know, we all dream, obviously we all dream, we want to find the exception. Yeah, you can say whatever that is in your head, whether it's the tomboy, or it's the mommy waifu, or it's the, you know, the, whatever, if you're into tsunderes, I hate tsunderes, whatever. But you can say whatever character archetype in your head that you're like, oh, this is the girl I want. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but if it's such like a small percentage of the population, then it's funny how in my peripheral I can see the chat scrolling, but I'm not reading any of it because I'm just like on like my rambling diatribe at the moment. But it's not like, again, it doesn't matter if it doesn't exist. The likelihood of you finding it is non-existent. Okay, the modern dating scene is utterly fucked, and I don't need to tell you this. Obviously, people are will cope. Again, probably not the people watching this. People will cope. But the modern dating scene is utterly annihilated. It's horrible. Obviously, it's less common these days, but the most reliable way to finding, not even necessarily a girlfriend, but really just, we'll say a long-term girlfriend, a partner, a whatever, say it however you want, would be meeting them in real life. But if you're not doing anything where that is a realistic possibility, especially because like a lot of people will write work out of the question because you don't shit where you eat, as the saying says. If you get in a relationship with someone at your job that could possibly end very poorly, you know, the woman definitely has leverage over you if that relationship goes south. But, you know, the point is, if you're not doing that stuff, if you're not doing anything really where there are women, if you have to, like, dating sites are an absolute disaster and have arguably helped destroy society because they did something that on surface level does not sound bad, but when you think about it is the worst thing that could possibly happen to, there's no good way. Again, I'm drunk, so I can't think of like a good, like normal way of saying this, but I'll just say breeding, whatever. Breeding. The point is propagating the future of civilization, having children. If you give women an incredibly large sample size to choose from, they're going to choose from the best. If they can only choose from people who are in their town, or, you know, whatever the equivalent is, they're not going to have super high standards, especially, you know, obviously modern society encourages people to sleep around as much as possible, even though that is, I would say, objectively bad. I'm not going to go into that because I don't feel like ranting about it. This is definitely turned into, this is bad. This is like turned into like incel hour, but I'm just going to keep rambling because I'm so drunk that I don't even care. I'm aware of what I'm saying, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to say this shit because I have a fucking platform and I can say whatever the fuck I want and nobody can stop me. It's that kind of shit. But the point is, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, if I'm being completely fair, it makes perfect sense why women do what they do. Because if I was in that position, I'd probably do the same thing. If I'm being, again, if I'm not just letting my inner frustrations out, it's like you think about it this way. If you were a Chad and the problem is it's not a one-to-one because men are different and men will sleep with women below them just to have sex. That's obvious. But if you were in a position where you had to choose a wife, you had a lot of options, you're going to choose the most attractive one, most likely, if you had a lot of options. Now, obviously, men and women are not the same. There's a lot of good people who are like, no, I want to be with the woman who loves me, or the woman who, is less likely to cause conflict, or less likely to divorce me if we have kids or whatever. You can like assess these things on like an analytical level. But, if we're just assuming that you have infinite options, you're going to probably get the one that, is most attractive to you, probably. Again, it's not the same. Especially probably the people watching this, I would assume, are also probably hopeless romantic types, just because like I feel like it's not just one generation, it's like multiple generations. It might even be like the last 3 or 4. If I'm going like Zoomer, Millennial, Gen X, all the way back to Baby Boomer, are probably all like that type where like we've all watched like movies, TV shows, etc., that have basically lied to us about women. And even like fucking baby boomers are geriatric at this point, still believe that women are things that they are not, because they have never in their life had that realization, even if they've been divorced. And a lot of them have gotten divorced. I mean, the divorce statistics are so high, most likely they have been divorced. They still do not connect the dots in their head, because programming is that goddamn thorough. You can get brainwashed. This applies to many things. I will not shit on anyone specific for certain stuff, but you can imagine my head. I'm thinking of some things that I'm not necessarily going to say, but when we are taught things as children, it is imprinted deep into us. And it really takes a lot for that to be removed from our heads, It's usually a lot of experiences that really drill that out of us. There's a lot of stuff, that happened to me that really kind of removed a lot of that programming. Also, I don't know, I'd say like genetically, I'm just the skeptical type. I mean, I look at my dad. My dad's a conspiracy theorist as well, about certain stuff, not about the JQ, ironically, but, about a lot of stuff. But, shit, what does this have to do with women? I don't know. I'm just saying, guys, like, if I was somebody else, someone who's not me, I'm sure I would use my meager amount of YouTube fame to get a girlfriend, but I'm just not that guy, man. I'm just not that guy for a lot of different things in my life. I'm not going to pretend this is some kind of noble thing, that it makes me a better person, that I'm not some kind of man whore, because like I am a coomer degenerate at the end of the day. In some hypothetical world where pornography was inaccessible to me, maybe I would be that guy. Like you stop jerking off for 3 months. Yeah, maybe you're like, fuck it. I'm gonna like, be like, listen, I'm a fucking YouTuber, bitch. Come suck my dick. No, I would never say that. I would never say that. I was just trying to be edgy. It's so easy to be edgy. And there's like no consequences at this point, because everyone already hates me, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Very based.
Basically every YouTuber hates me. But so you can't really go. There's nowhere else to go. There's a guy who tried that, got nobody and clowned, stay BP'd, like borderline personality disorder. Blackpilled. Oh, blackpilled, yeah. Stay blackpilled. Yeah, well, I mean, there's obviously limits to that, but think about it. Eggy, if you know who Eggy is, which, if you've been in the same circles I have, you probably know who Eggy is. Eggy got laid, and he's ugly as fuck, because he had a meager amount of fame on 4chan for being like the incel guy. So I don't know where that guy fucked up, but just being like, listen, someone in my position, I already had multiple women. Like, about Anna Waifu, there was another chick, I forgot, who's much older. If I wanted to, absolutely could. I'm not that guy though. Never have been, never will be. Okay? I you know what? I'm never going to change. Even if I know it's like different. I'm just not that guy, dude. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm sure there's plenty of chatters who, in my position, would be, doing much better than me in that department. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm disappointed in the world. And that applies to so many things. Women is one of those things, obviously. But, like, I can't really change my perspective because it's just been too burned into my soul. Obviously, I think of the many fuck-ups in high school. I don't think about it that much anymore because it was 10 years ago. But, I used to dwell on that a lot, where it's like, in junior year of high school, I had many opportunities. That's why I dated the black girl, that I've talked about on here a few times. But, like there's many things, like that was probably when I was like at my most conventionally attractive, when I had long hair, I was skinny, puberty was pretty much over at that point. But, like my ego had already been so thoroughly damaged by my poor social experiences that I couldn't really take advantage of the situation. That's really just like the non-specific version of that. And, like I do think about it occasionally. That's the only reason I regret not going to college. But at the same time, my brother did go to the college and he didn't take advantage of it. So I'd probably be the same. Let's be real. Like, if my brother went to college and girls liked him and he really like, me and my brother are fucking picky, dude, like at the end of the day, I've become less so over the years, probably for obvious reasons I don't need to say out loud. But at the time, we're like, no, we want, again, to put it in those terms, we wanted our looks match. We didn't want to date down. Okay. There's like my brother, I think, if I remember correctly, I don't know if he wants me to even say this, but I'll say it anyway. I think during college he used dating apps and he always got matched up with like obese chicks. And it's like he just couldn't lower himself to that degree. Like he just couldn't do it. And I understand it. I'd be the same. So it's just like things have gotten so much worse. So much worse on that department. If people were, I'm trying to be the least amount of misogynist possible while being drunk, which is very difficult. But the point the thing is, if you understand their nature, you can't really hate, because it's like, it's the equivalent of saying, oh, I hate the scorpion for stinging me. That's what the scorpion fucking does. That's the whole point of the Scorpion the Frog story, right? You fucking gave the backstabbing piece of shit a ride across the river, and then he backstabbed you. Why did you think anything else would happen? It's the same thing. That can be applied to so many things in this world. People don't want to give that. There's many, many stories, doesn't matter which culture, that tried to warn us of these things. Not necessarily about women. It could be Jews. It could be, I just straight up said it. Fuck it, whatever. It could be any group of people. It could be black people. It could be whatever. There's stories that are trying to tell us messages, and we don't want to listen because we've been brainwashed by modern society. It's that fucking simple, okay? The Scorpion and the Frog story is a goddamn classic. If you know someone is sus, someone is fucking not trustworthy, it's just like in their goddamn nature. You know it. You fucking know it. And then you trust them anyway, and then you get backstabbed, okay? I'm not going to give specifics, obviously, because, obviously I don't think my mother would want me to talk about it. But let's just say, long story short, my mother got backstabbed recently after helping someone. And all I could think was, you trusted someone, and people are fucking pieces of shit, okay? You got backstabbed. I'm sorry. That's horrible. You got backstabbed. Don't help anybody. Fuck them. Fuck them, okay? It's sad, but it is what it is. I should do drugs. I don't think that would help me, man. I've already got too many addictions. I did kind of accidentally flex on the overtime hustle guy. I do think about that sometimes. That was my mother's fault. It doesn't matter if I spurged. I did spurg a little, because I'm literally like, mentally I'm panicking, because I'm like, Mom, why would you fucking bring this up to a stranger who's with some girl? I don't know if it's his girlfriend or whatever the hell. But like, she's talking about, oh, my son's a YouTuber too, and like, I can't even remember the numbers. The dude had like 10,000 subs and I had like 50,000, I think. It's like, Mom, why are you bringing this up, dude? Why? It's so cringe. It's so fucking cringe. Hold on. I don't know how long I'm going to go with this. You guys can see how bald I am. It's funny. I keep saying I'm going to shave my head, but it's like, I can't let go of it yet. Yeah, it needs more time. It needs to recede a little bit more. The overtime hustling shit, that's such a fucking classic, though. That's one of those things where it's like, it's so fucking funny, man. Because like now I'm actually like, I wouldn't say, listen, my ego is not completely out of control. I wouldn't say I'm famous. But the fact that Moist Critical knows who I am. I only have 140 something thousand subscribers, and a guy with 16 million knows who I am. That's fucking crazy. It doesn't matter if he's laughing at me. The whole point that like he knows who I am. I'm basically internet famous at this point to a small degree. Maybe it's, you know, you could argue it's like on the same level that like lol cows are famous, but like if you told me when I was fucking 15 or 16 years old that like the fucking most popular YouTubers know who I am, like, dude, there's no goddamn way I'd ever believe that for a second. I never at any point in my life thought I'd be a successful YouTuber. And I am. I mean, like, you know, even like if I'm being a doomer, like if I'm really assessing this critically, I am 100% a successful YouTuber. I'm not rich, but I am a successful YouTuber. If I did sponsorships every video, I'd be making like good money without a doubt. But before someone brings it up, yes, I have contacted sponsorships. They don't contact back. So I'm wondering if like this is the wrong term, but I'm just going to say I've been like basically grandfathered in to a lot of these sponsorships because like I just get a lot of automated contacts. But when I message them back, they never get back to me. I'm assuming again because of like who I am. Like, they don't realize the automated emails are being sent out to me. So when I email back, they never get back to me. I actually did try to get a few sponsorships a couple months ago. It didn't work out. They never got back to me. Sad. But whatever. The point is, I am a successful YouTuber. I might be shadow banned. I don't fucking care, to be honest. Like, the idea of, like, wanting to have 200,000 subs, it's not important to me, really. It's not important. What is important is making videos people want to see. I know there's some people that want me to review old games, and I think next year I will review at least a couple, for sure, because I'm just kind of tired of like reviewing dog shit. It does get old, especially when it's like the type of dog shit that's so mediocre, you know? Like, it's not even like interesting. That's why I said I wanted to review Dustborn, because like Dustborn was interesting. I just didn't man up and just like fucking binge through the game. That's what I should have done. But I think I will review a couple old games next year. But yeah, this year I really wasn't feeling YouTube. I really wasn't. There's a lot of things in my life I wasn't feeling. Again, who knows how much of that is because of my sickness or whatever. But yeah, this wasn't a great year. Not a great year. I don't know. I also think like eventually I'm just getting beaten down from like a lot of the backlash, but not in the way you think. Like, not in the way like, oh, I'm going to change my opinion and totally pretend I like dog shit stuff. No, I would totally 100 goddamn % take a massive fucking dump on The Last of Us TV show, on the Fallout TV show. Fuck them. Fuck any of the people who like them. They're not people to me. Fuck you, bug pieces of shit. I hate you. But that aside, it is kind of depressing how much people do like that stuff. You know, like, it's the type of thing where, like, seeing how much backlash I got, I'm like, man, it's actually depressing that people really like slop, and they really, like, the amount of people who don't even know what Fallout is way outnumbers the people who do like Fallout at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even like a Fallout super fan. I mean, I am a fan. I'm definitely a fan of Fallout, but I'm not a super fan. There's people who like Fallout more than me, for sure, a bunch of them. But me, like, I do like Fallout. Like, Fallout's a part of my childhood, for sure. Like, I was 13, I think, when I played Fallout 3. I loved Fallout 3, and yes, it's retarded. Don't get me wrong, the writing's bad. But I still like Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas, despite, like, the proto-wokeness, maybe I will make that video someday, because I'm sure some people would like to see that. And it probably would be controversial, and it might get some attention, outside attention. That's not why I would make the video. I would make the video just to talk about politics, basically. It'd be a thinly veiled excuse to talk about politics, which I know I talk about, like, you know, my channel's not just about politics. I do actually like reviewing games. It's unfortunate that people, you know, there's a subsection of my audience that really only cares about the political angle. It's probably a significant percentage too. It's got to be like at least a third Probably like, I did a poll once on the streams, which isn't always indicative of what it really is, but I'd say like, you know, a third to even up to half of my audience really only cares if the video has a political angle, which is fine. I get it. But at the end of the day, I do like reviewing video game mechanics, even if I don't always do it in the best way. I do like talking about it. Where was I going with this? I don't remember anymore. Fuck. Okay. Oh, there's one more super chat. Sweeping Hamster, thanks, $2. New Year's resolution, bro. Listen, I don't really want to talk about specifics. We'll keep it vague. I want to get my life back on track. We'll keep it at that, okay? My life this year has sort of been going on a downward spiral, to quote Emp Lemon. It's been going on a downward spiral. We need to climb back out of this shit. It can't go any further down. I'm already making too many mistakes. Next year, I gotta fucking steer things back on track. I mean, I'm gonna be 30 years old next year, so that's Jesus, that's not good. So let's try and, you know, be a functional human being. I suppose that's as specific as I'll say. Okay. Again, I don't think I'm done yapping yet. I think I could yap for quite a while, even though it's 3:20 a.m. This is going to be Yap Stream. I think what I'm going to do, I know I don't usually do this, but I will do this. I think I'm probably just going to yap till I'm tired, and then I'm going to go straight to bed after this. Yeah. I'll probably just, like, you know, take contacts out, brush teeth, whatever, and then go straight to sleep. I think that's smart because, well, again, I'm drunk, but I'm not drunk enough to be like, this is why I'm going straight to bed. But you know what I mean? Like, there's no gooning going on today. There's too much drinking. I'll say that. You know, there you go. No. That's not happening. Worth a Buy has some sponsors. Did you reach out to those in particular, like Green Man Gaming? Even asking him come to devs for a game code? No. It might be worth asking for a code for Kingdom Come 2. They might give it to me. I also think I want to probably just cover all of Darksiders. Like, I'm probably going to cover Darksiders 3, and maybe I might do a double feature review and also play Genesis, since I've never played Darksiders Genesis. But I want to wait until Darksiders 4 is announced. I feel like it's got to happen, right? I mean, THQ Nordic doesn't really have, like, that many franchises. I'm kind of surprised they didn't announce it this year, because I think I remember hearing they were going to make some big announcement. I don't even remember what they ended up announcing, but people were hyping it up, and then Darksiders 4 didn't get announced. It's got to be announced at some point, but I think I'll review Darksiders 3 when Darksiders 4 gets announced. That sounds about right. They dropped a teaser. Oh, maybe I just didn't see it. We're not writing a novel. Yeah, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, I still think about that from time to time. Like, I love the ideas. It's one of those things where that plot will absolutely get written in some fashion someday, because I just feel like it's one of those things where the modern day needs something like it. And I feel like as long as it was not written in a completely schizo fashion, which might be difficult for someone like me, obviously, I think it would be great. It'd be great. Because, like, the idea, you'd have to make it not obvious what you're referring to with the toucans, obviously. And I feel like something like a toucan, like, the thing is, when you think of analogs to what we're talking about, you usually think of, like, something like rats, or there's probably other example. A rat is the first thing that comes to mind. But a toucan is not what you would think of, right? So the only way that it would be viewed as that is if it was too obvious, right? So you have to make it not obvious, but it's obvious what you're referring to. If you're in the know, you know what it is. Anyway, but enough about the book thing. I feel like I was rambling on for so long, and then I kind of got derailed because I was thinking about childhood stuff, and that always derails me 100%. I'm glad that a lot of those memories are fading away, though. That's just age, though. It might not be completely true, but I think the saying "time heals all wounds" is true to a point where you will reach an age where the memories are too faded away for it to realistically, like, hurt you. You know what I'm saying? I've forgotten most of the cringe shit. It's gone. I remember, like, at least 5 years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, where it would always be in the shower. Every time you take a shower, then like the cringiest shit that you used to do in high school or middle school or whatever comes to your head and just fucking like completely destroys your mood. But it's gone now, thankfully. I'm glad it's gone. I haven't had that in a long time. Old Sterling, thanks to the 20 pounds. Hi, Chud. I'm branching out from gaming on the next video. Stay tuned. Already made one about Origins of Woke, which I'm proud of. Thanks again for the initial react on the ugly games. It helped the channel out a lot. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I like helping out people who are aligned to my style of thinking. I mean, I don't really collab, really, because, well, it's more of a personal issue, really. But you know, I don't really collab with people, but I'm totally fine with helping out any person who's like-minded. Just try not to get banned if you're going to talk about, you know, JQ related stuff. I'm the type of guy who, you know, I don't know. I keep to myself. I think, you know, if people asked me like 3 or 4 years ago, yeah, probably like 3 years ago, if they wanted to collab with me, I'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? But like, goddamn, I've had so many people shit on me at this point. And I'm not going to pretend it's completely unwarranted, because I have fired shots, obviously, first in some cases. But those were on stream, for the most part, you know. The first Gaming is Dying video, obviously, did call out Actman specifically. But for the most part, my videos, I don't really call out YouTubers. I have called out Skill Up as well. But it's not a long list. On stream, though, I've talked shit about basically everybody. Let's be honest. Anybody who I've had any beef with, personally, at any point, I've talked shit about on stream, without a doubt. Well, because, like, man, come on, dude. I mean, if I'm not allowed to talk about it on stream, like, no, fuck you. I'll talk about whatever I want on stream. Deal with it. What are you going to do about it? You ain't stopping me. There's no way in hell. Now, in a video, you know, sure, we can keep it impersonal, whatever. On stream, no, dude. The whole point of streaming is to shoot the shit and just say shit off the cuff, man. There's no way in hell that I'm gonna watch what I say outside of saying like certain slurs. You know, okay, I know I'm not supposed to say certain slurs, but that's it. Okay, that's it. That's only for YouTube's sake. That's not for anybody else's sake. I would say them if I was allowed, you know. But I'm not allowed. It's just one of those streams, man. It's too bad all my streams get privated. I mean, on the one hand, when I sober up, I'm sure I'll be happy that the stream gets privated. But at the same time, it's like, you know, if you watch the videos, you only have a vague approximation of what I'm really like. But if you watch the streams, you know, dude. You know, this is not a fucking character. The only thing that is a character is, you know, I do say the first thing that comes to my head. Whereas obviously in real life, you like have to filter your speech. At the same time, you could actually make the argument that's more real me than I am in real life. You know what I mean? If you talk to me in real life, I would not talk like this because I try to be polite. You know, like I'm not gonna be mean to somebody who's done nothing, who's not wronged me in any way. But if you're talking on the internet, you're gonna say whatever the fuck you want. Why wouldn't you? That's how things used to be. I miss when things were like that, but they haven't been like that in so long. Again, that was, I thought, you know, when I was starting out, I thought that was kind of like the whole thing I was going for in my channel. I was never trying to be professional. I was trying to just say whatever I thought and what I wanted to say within reason. And then on stream, it's even more like there's almost no filter at all. I just say whatever I want. I guess, you know, that's why the stream audience prefers the streams to the videos. It's understandable. Videos hardly come out, though. More streams exist. Yeah, there's a lot more streams than videos these days. Well, streams are easy, though. I mean, streams require nothing, especially if you're like me. I mean, there's obviously, like, I do next year want to do more themed streams, where I do at least a bare minimum amount to, like, have it stand out in some way. I take a job as game tester, no, it wouldn't be worth the time. Or consultant if a dev company, indie or middleware offered to hire you. Let's be real, it wouldn't be worth the time. I love being some kind of consultant type, but like, listen, there is some, I agree to a point that an idea guy is worthless. To a point. But considering modern gaming has so many bad ideas, I do think people undervalue an idea guy. But being an idea guy is not a skill, and companies like BlackRock or Vanguard or whatever, you could even say the publisher, even if there isn't outside funding, encourages bad ideas. Let's be real. So there could be many individual developers who have good ideas, but I mean, they're not in charge. They can't make them. So being a consultant would be fine, but wouldn't, I mean, I feel like that would just give more ammo of me being a grifter of some kind. But if I'm being real with you, like, me as a consultant, only if you're being incredibly dishonest would that make me a grifter. Because, like, me as a consultant would just be like, okay, are you trying to make like a fun video game? Like, it's fun, like men want to play this and have a good time. Like, literally, like, your objective is to make the gameplay mechanics as fun as possible. If the answer is no, go fuck yourself, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, you know. It's like that kind of stuff, you know. It's like that stuff. Like, obviously I don't like the political propaganda, but if the developers are trying to make a game that is fun for the customer and for themselves, again, like Sven Vinka or whatever, however the fuck you say his name, Baldur's Gate 3 director, what he said, if you're trying to do that, you'll probably make a good game, but people aren't doing that. That's why games suck. You know, they want to make political propaganda, and the people working for them don't even know what a fucking fun video game is. You know, they don't try. They make shit. They make garbage. Okay, so how would a consultant even help with that anyway? I suppose if a company was willing to hire me, that means they actually do want to hear, like, hey, this game sucks because it's boring as shit. Too many cutscenes, story's not engaging, gameplay mechanics are either too simplistic or they're too repetitive. They're a game that everyone's already played 10 times, you know, that kind of thing. But again, the publisher wouldn't want to hear that last statement, that it's too similar to other games. No, because in their head, that means, oh, it's more likely to make money because normies bought this game, you know. A cajillion normies bought Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, or a cajillion normies bought, you know, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, etc., 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 you know. If it's like that, or it's like Fortnite, or it's like whatever, they think that's the safe financial investment. To me, like, if it's a game I've already played 10 times, then it's an awful idea. You need to at least make it slightly unique. It doesn't have to be, like, it can be in a familiar genre, but you have to at least, like, do a little something different. I really am rambling about nothing now. But again, like, there's no way I'm sleeping like this anyway, guys. There's no universe where I sleep in my current condition, so I might as well just keep rambling until I'm ready to sleep. I'll just end the stream and just jump in bed, basically. What if their version fun? Maybe modern devs are that fucked up. I mean, if they think it's fun? I mean, if the game they made is fun, then there's probably no reason for me to consult, except to say the BlackRock money isn't worth it if they're putting in, like, this gay diversity shit. Because the people in charge don't think about the long term, because there are no real consequences. Even if, like, the CEO goes down, he already made his money. Why would he give a shit, you know? The role you would be best suited for in a game industry role would be a producer or a senior tester. From your experience doing YouTube, nothing else to translate well into actual experience. Yeah. I do have some money. Probably not enough to really be a producer. I mean, there's plenty of producers that don't invest a shit ton, but I do have some money. If I did care about that sort of thing, I could probably invest in an indie game. But again, at the end of the day, like, there's almost no point in investing in something like that because it'd have to be the game I want. There's no way I would invest in a game to make money because there's so many indie games. There's so, like, an insane amount. Like, you know, over 1,000 indie games come out in a year that you're not going to make your money back. So I would really only invest in something that would be the game I want, which is unlikely. Very unlikely. Old Sterling, thanks for £5. Trust me, I work for a huge company in the CEO office. If your idea doesn't push for DEI or save money by outsourcing to India, they don't care. That sounds pretty likely. Yeah, I definitely believe that. Yeah, I feel like at this point, things just got to crash and burn before they get better, which we're heading that direction already with all of the layoffs. I mean, over 10,000 layoffs is certainly nothing to scoff at. But given that game development cycles are so long at this point, it really will probably take a while before we see like anything appealing to the, we'll just say, straight male gamer. It doesn't have to be a white male gamer. It literally just has to be like a male with any testosterone in their fucking body. Let's be real. Because like the fact that like people are trying to narrow it down to being a white thing. It's not a white thing. They don't even fucking make games for goddamn men with functioning testicles at this point. You know what I mean? Lingo, thanks for the $2. Help, I think my wife is cheating on her boyfriend. Okay. I don't know how I could help you with that. I'm not saying your money synth. The studio has money. You just make the decision on where the money is allocated for projects, not your money, lol. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming, though, to be a producer, I probably need to invest in the company or have some kind of, like I need to contribute in some fashion to be a producer. I don't know if the hypothetical is just saying, like, I am a producer already and I don't have to spend a bunch of money, but I was just thinking of it in that way. We got derailed from Doomer Hour, but I guess I already kind of said my piece. And I just think sometimes, and it's like, it's one of those things where I really, truly in my head feel conflicted, even though I'm the type of guy who really thinks like, I get annoyed when people say that, oh, you as a content creator need to be responsible for all the shit you say, and like, excuse me, your audience needs to, you need to keep them in line if they say bad shit. It's like, the way I see it, as long as you're not fucking pissing me off or trying to get me banned, you can say whatever the hell you want. Those are the only two rules, is don't piss me off and don't try to get me banned. There's a lot of users on here who do continually piss me off, which is why I banned Xbox Huge, because I'm just like, fuck it, man. Like, I mean, it literally is just trying to annoy me for no reason. There's nothing going on. They need to annoy me, but he wanted to, so I banned him. And if you remember, when I put a poll in chat, the majority of chat said I should ban people who annoy me. Even if I don't necessarily agree, I think eventually you do reach a point where it's like, yeah, you probably should just ban people who are significantly ruining your mood. But like I was having good times and it just annoyed me to read that, so I banned him. But anyway, I don't want to get too derailed. But I don't think the creator is responsible for what their chat says. Like, if you're the type of guy who's like, I'm fine with people having different opinions, even if they're problematic. Why, again, you can say problematic with 10 quotes, obviously, because, like, I don't like that word, but you get the point. Like, it's not politically correct. It's edgy. It's whatever. I don't have to agree with the statement. It's only when people specifically try to piss me off or they're saying like Fed stuff to get me banned that I think they should be banned. Oh, and spam, of course. Spam should be banned. Those are really the only people who should be banned. I don't remember why I brought this up, but yeah, probably tied into whatever I was rambling about before this. Probably gonna have to keep chugging this water just so I can like be ready to end this stream and sleep. Because this is what, yes. It's at 3:43. Goddamn. Yeah, almost never stream this late. I don't know. I don't want to delve too deep into this since we kind of like crawled our way out of Doomer Hour, but it does worry me and sadden me on a certain level, the amount of parasocialness that goes on here. But, again, I brought it on myself because I talk about personal issues so often. But, like, yeah, it's one of those situations where, like, it's such a double-edged sword where on the one hand, people love that I'm being a relatable human being. I'm not trying to be some fucking character. I talk about my issues. I'm very human. I'm very flawed. Yes, I do think I'm better than some people. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no, Synth, he's a total humble guy. He has no ego at all. No, I'm definitely fucking better than some people. Let's be real. But at the same time, I'm a very flawed human being, like all of us. I'm not I've said to many people, I'm not a role model. I've said that before. I'm by no fucking stretch of the imagination a role model, but I am a necessary evil. I'm a sign of the times. The only reason I gained any amount of fucking fame, subscribers, whatever, is because there was a gap, there was a void for somebody who was actually critical of propaganda in video games. It's that fucking simple, Now there's a bunch of that shit. Unfortunately, they pretty much all seem to be grifters. Let's be honest. I don't know if there's anyone who's just a straight up fucking honest chud like myself. Pretty much everybody who's like on my like who's saying the same shit I'm saying is pretty much a grifter, which is kind of depressing. But I mean, there's a couple exceptions, obviously. But I mean, I feel like even with the exceptions, they're in the same boat I'm in, except worse, where they're shadow banned and they don't even have that much of a consistent audience. I'm the type of guy where, like, even though I'm like soft shadow banned, like I have so many people who love to watch my shit, or just, it's not even necessarily watch the videos, but they want to just hear the shit I have to say, which is like, you know, I mean, I do like that. I'm very thankful for that. I'm glad. But at the same time, it's sad, you know, that like you're only allowed to say the type of shit I say if it's in a very specific way. And I've towed the line for the most part in terms of like trying not to break the rules too much. Not on stream though. On stream I say whatever I want, obviously. But in videos, you know, I try not to refer to certain things that obviously you're not allowed to say. But I've even gotten criticized a few times, so I'm assuming those were like fucking feds or fed adjacents. I still remember on some community post someone being like, Sid's a grifter because he doesn't talk about the Jews. And I'm like, bro, have you watched any of my streams? Even one of them? I literally replied, I'm like, you've never seen one of my streams. That's what I said. Because you haven't. Are you fucking out of your fucking mind? Yeah, I don't know. I'm a doomer at my core. And you know what? Obviously not everyone watching is a doomer. I'm happy for the people who have managed to have healthy lives. You know, there's a handful of people who have a wife or kids or both or whatever. Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm glad. I'm jealous. I'll be honest. I am jealous. I'm sad and jealous. But, you know, I'm happy for you, legitimately. I'm not the type of guy, like, anyone who's on my team, who's actually on my team, I'm glad you're successful and things are going great for you. It's my enemies who I hate and want the worst on, for sure. I mean, you know, that's always the shit that I say the most exaggerated shit about. But, you know, like, would it really be the synthetic man if I really got my shit together and became like a functional human? I feel like the tone of the channel would change immediately, because like everything about my content is a reflection of my current state as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I would say shitty games are good just because like my life is better, but at the same time the videos would certainly be less what they are now. There would be less, you know, the stuff always seeps into any art you create is going to be directly reflective of your life, for sure, without a doubt, undeniable. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there will be a Jewish quarter, so don't do anything that will get you banned. Oh, really? Is that actually going to be a thing?
People are saying that goblins are supposed to be an allusion to, you know, Jewish people. And they're trying to say that, oh, only Jewish people run the banks.
I mean, listen, we gotta at least test if they're essential NPCs. Is that anti-Semitic to just test that? I don't think so. Harshot Singh, thanks to 200 rupees. Breton, I just hopped on. Is everything alright? The year's about to end in a nothing burger except for the bumps. Hope the next year is bountiful for you in chat. Yeah, we can only hope. Things are fine. I was just kind of like delving into Doomer Hour a little bit. I would watch your future candle making streams. Why would I ever make candles? Currently making a gamer-themed comic. Would you be cool if I add you for cameo appearance? Yeah, sure. Add me to anything. Yeah. Open your eyes, buddy. I'm fucking far gone. I'm just yapping till I start to pass out, and then I hit the end stream button. Yeah, I'm just rambling about random ass shit. I'm getting pretty tired. It's almost 4 a.m., but I feel like I got a little bit more in me. Sleep stream. See, the one thing, probably just because I have general insomnia, probably, like, again, just exposure to so much blue light. But I have never fallen asleep, like, staring at a screen. That's just never happened. And I don't think it will ever happen. What can we do? Pushing LGTV propaganda is modern dev's definition of fun. Publishers don't care because DEI money gives them profit. Here and now, what should we do? What can we do? Well, in the great wisdom of Chuda, whatever, it's Buddha, but it's Chud. I'm sure you've seen the meme. Do nothing. Buy nothing. Commit economic terrorism, basically. which is unironically what they refer to it as. Just do not purchase any modern games that do not appeal to you, and it's that simple. Just don't do it. The thing is, like, our other options, not counting shit that obviously I can't say, you know. I'm not going to tell you guys, like, alright, you should kill whatever, blank. Obviously not. But if we're talking about realistic things that you can do, just boycotting is, like, it's the most effective, and it's obviously working to some degree. It's debatable on what level it's working at, but on a long enough timeline, just not buying modern games will do something. It will do something. You just have to convince normies to not buy the shitty games too. That's the harder task. Thankfully, modern games is so fucking repulsive that we don't really have to convince normies not to buy the games. They seem to be picking up on how unappealing the games are by themselves. But like the Fallout show proved, subtle wokeness works. Indeed. I don't think there's any solution to that. Like, the pattern recognition abilities of the average person is, like, depressingly shit. Especially, like, again, I don't want to delve into it too deeply because I'm like, the fatigue is really setting in. But, like, when you're programmed, I've already talked about this on stream before, but when you're programmed to be anti-racist, it really fucks with your head. Like, really evidently just kind of blinds you to so many obvious things. I really don't get it because, like, again, I'm obviously not a neurotypical individual to put it in the politically correct terms. Whatever's wrong with my brain, I'm not a normie. I'll never be one. You know, I don't really understand the brain blockage they have related to pattern recognition skills that is directly tied into racism and sexism, obviously. But, yeah, when, like, you're told from a young age to not notice patterns, it seems to be pretty effective. And again, retards miss the point. I'm preaching to the choir, obviously, but retards miss the point where, yes, it's not everybody. I'm not insane, but it doesn't have to be everybody. Nobody ever said it has to be every single person who's born a certain way, okay? Only an idiot would think that anyway. That's not the fucking point. Never has been. And when it comes to propaganda, it's less about the existence of the thing and more about the pushing of the thing. I've said this before. Listen, how many times on stream have I talked about, like, my weird, like, colonizing fetish, if you can call it that, whatever, you know, like, you know, I'm into that sort of thing. That doesn't mean I like the promotion of interracial couples in all media, because I know the fucking Kalergi plan. Not that any goddamn normie retard would ever think that's real, but whatever, you know. Whatever. I'm not going to get upset at 4 a.m. But the point is, I know what they're doing. I know what they're trying to push, okay? That's why it's infuriating, okay? I know this might be a controversial take in this audience, but if you naturally like a woman who's not the same ethnicity as you, I don't care. I swear to God, I do not give a shit. But that's not the fucking point of propaganda. You midwit retards who, I'm basically talking to a straw man because there's nobody watching right now. But this hypothetical person in my brain that is real, so it's not really a straw man, but we'll say it's a straw man for the sake of the argument. I don't care. I swear to God. But if you are influenced by media, then you're a retard, and you shouldn't be, at bare minimum, you shouldn't be able to vote. That's bare minimum. I would argue there's even less rights you should have for being an idiot who thinks that fucking fiction is real. And there's so many of them out there. Millions and millions who vote. You shouldn't have the same rights as me because you watch something and that influences your decision making. And the thing is, you're not conscious of it, so you can't even argue against it, fag. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Okay? Just let me roast on the straw man for a second. Listen, these people are very real. Okay? I'm not gonna name any names. My brother has talked about people he's interacted with that are exactly like this. And when I was younger, I knew people just like this. Obviously, I'm a bit of a misanthrope these days, so I can't say I've talked to a whole lot of people that fit this idea in my head. But they're very real. We'll put it that. They're very fucking real. It's not just a straw man that doesn't exist. Now, Thomas isn't like this, because Thomas is very racist. I cleaned my basement. Is still going. Don't worry, I'm ending it. Yeah. Okay. We made it to 4 a.m. Decent comeback stream, I guess. At least there wasn't a crazy amount of people for Doomer Hour. I mean, over 800 is still a lot. I mean, you know, if I compare it to numbers from like 2 years ago. Okay, I'm gonna try to sleep. Wish me luck. Okay, see you guys.